Om Swastiastu. Hello everyone, my name is Samuel Benewatubara with student number 220-5531097. In this presentation, I will discuss metal casting process and equipment based on chapter 11 of manufacturing process for engineering materials. We will explore the different casting techniques used in the industry, their advantage, and how they help produce complex metal components efficiently and economically. Metal casting is one of the oldest and most important manufacturing process, dating back to 4000 before centuries. It involves pouring molten metals into a mold to form a desired shape after solidification. Today, casting is used to produce a wide variety of products, from engine blocks and turbine blades to plumbing fittings and decorative parts, with increasing automations and precision. Casting processes are generally classified based on the type of mold and pattern used. Expandable molds are destroyed after its use, while permanent molds can be used multiple times. The main types include sand, shell, and ceramic mold casting for expandable process, and die, vacuum, and pressure casting for permanent process. Each method offers a balance between cost, accuracy, and production rate. Sand casting is most commonly used casting process due to its versatility and low cost. It involves creating a mold cavity from sand and pouring molten metal into it. The process follows several steps: preparing the pattern, forming the mold, pouring, solidification, and cleaning. Because sand is reusable and easily shaped, this method can produce small parts as well as large components like engine blocks. And this figure 11.3 shows a schematic illustration of a typical sand mold. It consists of a top half, the cope, and a bottom half, the drag, which together form the flash. Molten metals enters through the pouring basin, flows down the sprue, through the runner system, and into the mold cavity. A sand core is placed inside to create a hollow section in the casting, while risers feed molten metals to compensate from string edge during solidification. In sand casting, mold design and pattern materials play a vital role in achieving quality castings. The mold includes parts like sprue, runner, and riser, which control the flow of metal and gases. Patterns, made of wood, metal, or plastic, define the final geometry of the part. Pores are inserted to create hollow sections within the casting, enabling complex internal shapes. Figure 11.5 demonstrates the importance of a draft angle. The poor example shows how vertical walls can damage the sand mold upon removal, while the good example shows that adding a taper or draft allows the pattern to be removed cleanly. Figure 11.6 shows how cores are used to create hollow cavities in a casting. Figure A shows the core being supported by core prints. Figure B shows an alternative where metal supports called chaplets are used to anchor the core and prevent it from shifting during pouring. Modern foundries use automatic molding machines to create productivity and uniformity. Vertical flashless molding systems eliminate the need for separate flash, making them ideal for high-speed production. Another approach, vacuum or molding or feed process, use vacuum pressure to compact sand without using binders, producing casting with smooth surface and excellent dimensional accuracy. Shell molding process is a precision process where a heated metal pattern is coated with a mixture of sand and thermosetting resin. When the resin cures, it forms a thin, strong shell mold with a smooth surface. This process offers high dimensional accuracy and is suitable for automated production lines commonly used for gear housings, brackets, and engine components. This figure shows the shell molding process. First, a heated pattern is damped to a damp box containing sand coated with thermosetting resin. The box is rotated, allowing the coated sand to cover the hot pattern. The pattern and sand form an investment which is cured, usually in an oven, to harden the resin, creating a shell. The hardened shell is then removed from the pattern. Two mold halves or shells are joined together, often with adhesive or dams to form the complete mold. Finally, the mold is placed in a flask, often supported by sand or metal beads, and is ready for the molten metal to be poured. In plaster mold casting, molds are made using plaster or pairs mixed with additive like talc and silica flour. The process is used for low melting metals such as aluminum, magnesium, zinc, and copper alloys. It provides smooth surface finish and excellent detail reproduction, but it is limited by slow cooling and poor permeability. Ceramic mold casting use refractory materials like zircon, alumina, and silica to withstand very high temperatures. It's similar to plaster mold casting but capable of producing intricate shapes in steel and spar alloys. The process is used for turbine blades, dies, and mold where precision and heat resistance are essential. These figures show the first three steps of making a ceramic mold. First, a ceramic slurry, which is a mix of refractory materials, is poured from a transfer bowl over a pattern that is resting in a flask. After the slurry sets, the green or unset mold is stripped or removed from the pattern. Finally, the mold undergoes a burn-off stage where a torch is used to ignite and burn off any volatile matter before it's baked for high temperature use. The loose foam process uses a foam pattern made of polystyrene that vaporizes when molten metal is poured into the mold. Since the pattern disappears, there's no need for parting the lines or cores, simplifying mold preparation. This method produces smooth and accurate casting, widely used in automotive industry. A great example of the loose foam process is in Mercury Marine's production of aluminum engine blocks. By using loose foam casting, they replace 8 separate die-cast components with a single integrated casting. This resulted in lighter, cheaper, and more efficient engine with improved cooling performance. Investment casting, also known as loose wax casting, begins with creating a wax pattern that's coated in ceramic slurry to form a mold. After the wax is melted out, molten metal is poured into the cavity. The process yields parts with excellent detail, surface finish, and dimensional accuracy suitable for aerospace and medical applications. Figure 11.13 details the investment casting or loose wax process. First, wax patterns are injected and assembled onto a tray, which is then repeatedly dipped in a ceramic slurry and stucco to build a strong mold. The wax is melted out and molten metal is put into the hardened empty cavity. Finally, the mold is broken away during shakeout, leaving the finished cast part. Investment casting is also applied in medical engineering, especially for orthopedic implants such as total knee replacements. Cobalt chrome alloy is cast using robotic slurry coating for consistent thickness. The result is a highly precise, biocompatible implant with an excellent surface finish that requires minimal machining. Permanent mold casting involves using reusable metal molds, usually made of steel or graphite, to produce multiple castings. These methods offer better surface finish, dimensional accuracy, and mechanical strength compared to sand casting. It's commonly used for aluminum, magnesium, and copper alloys in automotive and aerospace industries. In vacuum or counter-gravity casting, molten metal is drawn upward into the mold using vacuum pressure. This technique minimizes gas porosity and produces thin walled uniform parts. It's ideal for high-quality components like turbine blades and aerospace parts that require flawless internal structures. This figure shows the vacuum casting process. A is the mold is held above an induction furnace containing molten metal. In B, the mold is partially immersed and a vacuum is applied. This vacuum reduces the pressure inside the mold, drawing the molten metal up through the gate to fill the casting cavity. Slush casting is used to produce hollow or thin-walled parts, often for decorative objects or toys. The mold is partially filled with molten metal, allowed to solidify slightly, and then the remaining liquid metal is poured out. The result is a lightweight, hollow casting with good surface detail. In pressure casting, gas pressure is applied to force molten metal into the mold. The process ensures dense, high-quality castings with fewer defects and minimal porosity. It's suitable for precision parts like steering component, wheel, and hydraulic system, where strength and reliability are critical. Die casting is a high-speed process where molten metal is injected into a steel die under high pressure. The two main types are hot chamber and cold chamber, depending on the melting point of the metal. It's widely used for producing large quantities of small, precise components with excellent surface finish, such as automotive and electronic housing. This figure shows the cold chamber die casting process. Molten metal is first landed from a furnace into the shot sleeve. A hydraulic plunger then forces the metal into the die cavity at high pressure. The clamp mechanism holds the die closed until the casting solidifies, after which it is opened and the part is removed. Single crystal casting is an advanced technique for producing components with a uniform crystal structure. It's mainly used for turbine blades and superalloy parts operating under extreme temperatures. Directional solidification allows the material to resist creep and fatigue, improving performance and lifespan in jet engines. Rapid solidification involves cooling molten metals at extremely high rates to refine its microstructure. This process produces alloy with superior strength, corrosion resistance, and uniform composition. It's often used in powder metallurgy and thin strip casting to develop high-performance material for modern applications. Inspection is essential to ensure the quality and reliability of cast products. Common method includes visual inspection, X-ray, ultrasonic, and magnetic testing. This non-destructive technique helps detect internal defects such as crack, porosity, or inclusion before the parts are put into service. The type of furnace used in casting depends on the material production scale. Cupola furnaces are used for cast iron, crucible furnace for small batches, and electric arc or induction furnace for steel and high-grade alloys. Proper temperature controls and metal purity are critical to achieve consistent casting quality. Modern foundries rely on robotics and computer control system for precision, efficiency, and safety. Automation reduces human error, ensure uniform quality, and improve environmental conditions by reducing dust and waste. These technologies make casting cleaner, faster, and more sustainable than ever before. Each casting process has its own strength and depending on design needs and production scale. Since casting is economical and flexible, die casting offers speed and precision. Investment casting provide fine details, and permanent molds deliver excellent quality and durability. Understanding this difference helps engineers select the most suitable process for its application. This presentation is based on Manufacturing Process for Engineering Materials by Serok Kalpakjian and Stephen Smith, 6th edition. All figures and tables are referenced from chapter 11 of the book. And that is all of my presentation. Thank you for watching. Om Santi 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 Om.